WNST, House in Baltimore. And, of course, the Orioles entertaining the New York Yankees all weekend. But I got to be honest, man. I got Caps on the brain, even though I'm wearing a Raven hat right now. Ed Frankovic joins us as we await the final weekend. Now the Capitals with a clinching of the President's Trophy on Wednesday night with a victory over the New York Rangers. Hope the Orioles can beat up the Yankees the way the Caps beat up the Rangers on Wednesday night. Ed, we've been talking for 8 months now. Like, getting to this point, we brought Coach Trotz out last month up to Greenmount Station talking about all of this, and it's all about matchups. It's all about health. It's all about opponent. And this weekend, we're going to figure out exactly who the Capitals are going to draw next week.
Yes. The Caps, to quote that great line from Slapshot, the Caps have won the Federal League. I just love saying that. I love blogging that. I love saying it. Yep, another President's Trophy. We're going into the fun season here. My workout at WNST.net. You can check it out. I talk about the playoff matchups. You and I have been talking for about 6 weeks now on matchups on who they want to face. And I've been firm, and I want the Leafs. Bring me the Leafs. I just think it's a great matchup for the Caps. I don't want the Bruins, and that's a team they're going to face this weekend on Saturday afternoon. I think it's in their best interest to find a way to lose that game and avoid the Bruins. So give me Toronto. My second choice is Ottawa at this point. But certainly what I like about what the Capitals have done this week is they've gotten back to playing good defense. I felt like they got loose when they started out on the road. They were giving up too many odd man rushes. They were not protecting the front of their net very well, and I feel like they've really gotten back to that. And there's an old football saying that defense wins championships, and I really believe that applies to hockey as well.
Well, I don't know that the Rangers needed the game on Wednesday night. Everybody wants to improve their place, and, who knows who really deep down wants to play whom, right? Like, you get what you get. The Capitals could obviously back up in Boston and, skate the Hershey Bears for 60 minutes if they wanted to, and try to place themselves with the Leafs or with the Senators at this point. That was a very, very impressive effort against the Rangers on a night where it felt like the Rangers could want that game more than the Caps, and I felt that way about the Caps for a week and a half now.
Well, yeah, I think the Rangers, they're pretty much locked in to play the Canadiens. They know it's going to be Lundqvist against Carey Price starting next week. That'll be a big-time media blitz series, because you have the two sides of the equation in Montreal, the English and the French side coverage, and then you have New York. The Rangers are the biggest hockey team in New York. So that's just going to be, I think that's going to be a huge series with Hockey Night in Canada. NBC is going to want to put those games on, and that's going to be interesting to see how the TV schedule works out for that, and the Caps will fall around that depending on who they play. Now, if the Caps play the Leafs, then we got another big Canadian market up there.
What's your gut right now? Is your gut Toronto? I mean, they have a game in hand, as do Ottawa. So, they're going to have a chance to get the final 2 points. But it's a pretty busy weekend for all three of those teams, right? Ottawa, Boston, and Toronto. And for Boston, they're waiting on the Caps for a Saturday afternoon game. Any gut? You've said all along you like the Leafs. Certainly the Caps made pretty easy work of them up there the other night. I mean, it didn't look difficult. Hopefully it's easy at the end of next week as it was the beginning of this week, right?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be the Leafs because Thursday night, Tampa and the Leafs play, and Tampa absolutely has to have that game to stay alive. So I got a feeling Tampa's going to find a way to win that game, even though it's in the ACC up in Toronto, which would keep Toronto down in that second wild card spot. And then on the weekend, Toronto still has to play Pittsburgh and Columbus. And Pittsburgh and Columbus are still kind of fighting for some home ice. I think Pittsburgh, if they win on Saturday,
they clinch,
against Toronto, they would clinch. So right. I think the Leafs are going to have a hard time, winning three. They won't win three. I think they have a hard time winning two, and they only need one to get in. So Ottawa and Boston play each other on Thursday. So there's going to be someone's getting 2 points and someone's not, or it could end up going overtime and it's a 3-point game. So I think the way it's laid out, I really think that it's going to be the Leafs, or maybe the Senators. I think Boston, the way they're going, is going to be high enough up. Now, Brad Marchand may get suspended here for a dirty spear the other night, which he deserves to be suspended for that. So that can make a difference. But the Rangers, you talked about the Rangers. They rested Rick Nash, they rested Matt Zuccarello, and they rested Ryan McDonough, three of their best players on Wednesday night. So it was a low intensity game. Not a lot to it. The Rangers came out and played well in the first period. Caps were a little sloppy. I didn't like all the turnovers at the offensive blue line. But the last 40 minutes, I thought the Capitals played exactly the way they got to play in the playoffs, much like they did in Toronto on Tuesday night. And the Capitals were going back-to-back, so I was wondering how much legs they would have. But they really stayed structure. I really like the way the gap control is. As I blogged out at WNST.net, I really feel like the structure and the system right now, they're playing it as well as they played it since before the bye week when they were on that roll. I feel like the forwards and the defensemen are very tight together. So if the puck gets by one, there's always another Capital there, and that's the key thing.
There is nothing here to not feel good about, right? If you're a Caps fan, there's nothing here that you would say, well, I don't like the way the defense is playing. I'm worried about the goaltending. We've got some injuries. We've got some nagging this or some bothersome that. The only thing that bothers me about the Capitals is the 40 years of history. That's the only thing that's gone wrong. I mean, right now, they're playing as well as you'd want them to play. They're as healthy as you'd want them to be. It feels like they're a long way removed even from that stinker out in the desert last week and 3 weeks ago out in California. It feels like it's all systems go. I don't know if what level of confidence you'd want to have in your hockey team that the Caps don't have right now. I wouldn't want to play the Caps, I'll tell you that.
Well, when Mike Milbury on NBC says this is their year, this is their best team, they should be afraid of nobody, and they should act like it, he really believes that because he's one of the Capitals' harshest critics. And there's a lot of people that have always been dumping on the Caps and regular season champs, blah, 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 blah. And as Coach Trotz told everybody recently and told us out at Greenmont Station there a few weeks ago, what's to be nervous about? It's a different year. There's a bunch of guys on this team that don't have that history. And Justin Williams, 3-time Cup winner, Brooks Orpik, Cup winner. But then you got nobody else who's won a Cup. So it's going to be a hard road. They're going to have to go through some tough teams no matter who they play. That first round is going to be extremely hard. And then should they be fortunate enough to win that, then you're looking at Columbus or Pittsburgh. And we know all about the ghosts of Pittsburgh Penguins past. Now, they did catch a little bit of break with Chris Letang being out for the rest of the season. But the Penguins have been playing without that guy for 30-some games now. They've already adjusted their game. I don't think that's a big loss for them. They're used to playing without that guy right now. So the Penguins are still extremely talented. We'll have plenty to talk about. I think that's who we'll get in the second round, and it'll be, like last year, the Stanley Cup final in the second round again, although I don't want to discount any, the Bruins or the Rangers or the Canadians because they could be there if if the Caps and Penguins third round, and then you got the finals. It could be Chicago, San Jose. There's all kinds of – everybody's good at this point.
Well, I mean, you talk about the matchups and, who the chalk would be, who the favorite would be. I don't feel that way about any of the structure of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't look and say 3 against 6, we're just going to put the 3 through. That's not the way this tournament ever works, right? So trying to be predictive of who they would get in the next round, all you can do is say, let's win game 1, let's win game 2, let's go on the road and get one of those 2 and come back and try to finish the thing off before you have to play around with game 6s and 7s, right?
It's absolutely the mentality you have to take. You have to take it one shift, one period at a time. Because if you start thinking ahead, next thing you know, you're golfing. And anybody can get hurt at any time. Injuries are such a factor in the playoffs. The Capitals went in very healthy last year, although Carlson was a little nicked up. He's a little nicked up now, but nothing like last year. And then, you get Orpik gets the concussion when they're in Game 3 in Philly, and then he gets suspended, and suddenly you have no depth on defense. So I think Brian McClellan really did not want to face that situation again this year, and that's why he went out and got Kevin Shattenkirk, who's playing his best hockey. He's really fitting in. The power play looks unbelievable right now with him running it along with Backstrom. And I don't know how much you saw of the Toronto win on Tuesday night, but that power play goal that Shattenkirk scored, that was just, the Leafs had no idea what to defend because the Capitals were moving the puck, they were moving bodies, and they ended up getting a wide open look. So I really think Shattenkirk has taken that power play to another level. They're deep. Nate Schmidt gets in the lineup here for a couple games, and he looks good. If somebody goes down, he's in. There's a lot of depth on this Capitals team. You could even go down to Hershey for Tom Gilbert as the 9th defenseman because they got Taylor Chorney as the 8th defenseman, and we'll see a little bit of Taylor this weekend. Trotz has the opportunity to play everybody this weekend. Now Hershey's in a dogfight right now for a playoff spot, so I don't think you'll see anybody come up from there, but you will see Taylor Chorney this week. And if Hershey doesn't make it, then you've got a whole bunch of guys that you can reach down to. But the thing we've talked about a lot this year was balancing the ice time, and he's done that all year. So I think everybody's fresh. They haven't had to ride at top two lines. Like, I look at Sidney Crosby's ice time several nights, and it's pretty high up there. And Mike Sullivan's been riding him, trying to stay in this. So I really feel like the extra minutes that Backstrom and Ovechkin haven't played, and some of the guys on the defense, now that they've balanced it out, are really going to pay off.
What'd you think of Ovechkin dropping the gloves the other night? And more than that, Tom Wilson's been a guy who, not just is an enforcer or a fighter, he's become a pretty good hockey player, as we expected him to be 3 or 4 years ago. But then he sort of went down to Goon Alley, and you're like, well, is that what he's going to be, or is he going to be a real good hockey player? He's finding the middle way here, and he's still a young guy.
Yeah, I really like the way Wilson's improved his game, and I got to give a lot of credit to the assistant coaches on the staff. Lane Lambert, in particular, with the forwards. What he's done with Tom Wilson is what he didn't have when he came here, when Adam Oates and George McVie rushed him to the big club instead of leaving him in Plymouth to play another year at juniors. And, and he had to play 5 minutes a game and fight because that was the only role he had. I really think that was a huge mistake. It set Willie back a couple of years. But Lambert's come in. This is his third year under him. He's become a dynamite penalty killer. He's become a physical force. He's not taking those bad penalties anymore. He draws more penalties than he takes. And he's starting to, get some offense going. He and Winnick and Beagle, they're a threat to score when they're on the ice. And Tuesday night,
well, they're a mismatch. The other team's not as good because they're more skilled than any other third and fourth line running around.
Yes, and Wilson, I watched it again last night, much like he did 2 years ago in the playoffs. The Rangers back off from him when he has the puck. Nobody wants to go near him because he's so big. He'll hit you. And that ability to open up the ice is huge. And Ovechkin's been doing a lot of that lately, too. He's been coming out and setting a bit of a tone with some early hits. And you talked about him dropping the gloves and mixing it up. And I just love the way Wilson on Tuesday night in Toronto, the way...
third man in. I mean, the referee said to him, "Tommy, what the hell are you doing?" And they didn't send him off, which was great. I said to my wife, "I'm like, oh boy, he's gone."
Yeah, but Matt Martin shoves Niskanen into the goal. Matt Niskanen's probably the Capitals' #1 defenseman right now. Tom Wilson's right over there, right away, grabbing Martin, like, you get off my guy, and then Grubauer gets the old spray in the face from little Mitch Marner, and Wilson just skated by him. You can see he said, "You do that again, you're a dead man." That intimidation factor, that protection factor, sticking up for your guys, protecting your guys, that means a lot to those other guys in the locker room. And they know how valuable Tom Wilson is to this team. And he's really taken his game to another level.
Yeah, they got chippy the other night when Grubauer got a spray in the face, remember?
Yeah, Mitch Marner came in, sprayed him, and Tom just came right over and said, "Hey, enough of that, little man, little rookie. Here, you do that again, and you're going to be plastered on the ice." So
it was chippy.
You just can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. It's part of the code. And Wilson's job is to make sure nobody steps out of line. And the Leafs have a guy, Matt Martin, who played for the Islanders for years. We've seen him. He's much like Wilson on the other end. He likes to be physical. He likes to hit, and he likes to play on the edge. And that's where Wilson's job is to keep him in line.
So am I holding the flight to Chicago in early June? Is that your recommendation right now, Ed?
Yeah, I think the Blackhawks could be the team out of there. I just hold your flights for wherever. I don't know who's going to come out of the West. I think it's pretty wide open.
I'm trying to hold the flight up to Toronto for next week. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the schedule, right? Like, here's the scheduling quirk. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are playing at the Verizon Center on Wednesday night of next week. So the tournament can't start on Wednesday. They haven't started games on Tuesday. From what I understand, they won't start Tuesday, right? Like, this will be Wednesday or Thursday. And in the Caps case, game one would be Thursday the 13th, right?
You're correct. It's probably going to be a Thursday, Saturday. It all depends on who they face on Saturday.
And then they would go to Toronto Monday, Wednesday, right? Or maybe even Monday, Thursday, but probably Monday, Wednesday, right?
Monday, Wednesday seems likely if it's Toronto or Ottawa. My guess is a Thursday night, Saturday night. If the Rangers, Montreal, that series is going to dictate the whole schedule. Let's be honest, that's the big TV draw. The Rangers are always the big TV draw in the U.S., or at least that's what Gary Bettman and company and NBC want. So my guess is that could very well be a Sunday afternoon game or a Saturday afternoon game. Because Hockey Night in Canada will have the Leafs, and they'll have Ottawa, and they also have the Calgary Flames and Edmonton Oilers in the tournament too. So last year we had no Canadian teams. I think this year, we got four, right? Four are in. So Canada's certainly happy this year as well.
He is Ed Frankovic. You can follow him out on Twitter as well as Ed at WNST.net. Hey, bro, we got plenty of hockey. We're just getting started here. President's Trophy means nothing other than a pat on the back at this point. Caps in Boston this weekend. They'll wrap it up against Florida on Sunday and then await the tournament schedule. When do you expect the tournament schedule, Ed? Do you remember when it sort of became public last year? Is it Monday? Does it happen?
It'll come out late Sunday night. As soon as the games are done, we'll have it, and we don't have to worry about going to Philadelphia this year because those guys are golfing.
Well, we could go up there and drive through on our way to New York or something like that if we want to, have a cheesesteak or something, but we'll discuss that.
We could do that.
That's for a round later on. I'm trying to figure out Toronto, Ottawa, or Boston for next week. Ed will be glued to the TV all weekend watching it all. If you need anything, holler out, and hey, man. Playoffs start next time we get together. We'll be talking about real hockey on Monday, right?
I really look forward to our Monday conversation, talking the matchup, who it's going to be, and what we need to do.
16 teams, 8 series, all getting going next Wednesday. The Stanley Cup playoffs, the chase for the chalice. The most wonderful time of the year, as they say. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. Streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. And awaiting the NFL schedule next week as well. We've got trips to London, obviously. That's already on sale. We have our $100 off deal if you throw me an email. Green Bay, Minneapolis, Nashville, and wherever the Raiders are playing, we'll be putting those trips on sale next week as well. If you miss anything at all, you can find it in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day. From anywhere in the world on your mobile device, just download the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear. I'm Nestor. We're WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.